When we take the time to reflect on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we gain a deeper understanding of who we are. But personal growth and this form of self awareness all starts internally. And I know oftentimes in life we get caught up in this cycle of looking externally for internal problems. Problems that we know that we haven't even mentally conquered, but yet we're trying to physically conquer them. And one thing that really helped me understand this concept is the fact that everything really does start in our mind. The form of manifestation, you being able to really speak the life that you want into existence. Everything that we see around us started as a single thought. But this form of self awareness helps us identify patterns, and then these patterns are what we can use in order to make the necessary adjustments to get a different result. So, the whole purpose of this video is to emphasize the importance of not focusing on external solutions for internal problems. The life that you're living right now is nothing more than a reflection of your current state of mind. It's a reflection of the decisions that you made up until this point. And although it may not be the life that you always dreamed of living, it doesn't mean that that can't change. But one thing that you have to keep in mind that this form of relying on external answers will always leave you reliant on the next person for solutions to your problems. This takes away the whole form of accountability that you may have in your life, because now you aren't even looking at yourself in the mirror to help or to get you to that next level. You're relying on what the next person has to say, because this gives you the comfort that you need to not take accountability. So if something goes wrong, you have somebody to blame. But self-reflection above all puts us in a position to rely on our own judgment. Having that trust deep down within ourselves, knowing that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay for me to put myself in a position and have a viewpoint on something and stand on it, whether it's right or wrong. And what this does over time is it makes you feel more empowered to be able to go out and make decisions on your own. Just think about times where you may have been a kid. When you first started riding a bike, you had the training wheels. At first, you needed that guidance and that support. Your parent may have held you while you got the rhythm until you finally learned how to do it on your own. And when you did take that leap of faith and go out and try it and you succeeded, that courage that you gained from actually succeeding really elevated you mentally. And I'm pretty sure at that point you felt like you could do almost anything. You felt like you may have been on top of the world. And another thing about external advice is sometimes it can be contradictory. You may have a totally different viewpoint on something, or you may have been headed in a totally different direction, and you get someone else's opinions that just makes you question whether or not the way that you're going to move is actually valid, especially when you put yourself in a position to ask for multiple different opinions. All this does is just get you off track. That's why I'm a firm believer that if you have something that you want to do, if you have problems that you need to solve within yourself, there's nothing wrong with seeking this form of advice from time to time, especially if you know how to minimize those voices from other people's opinions. But you are going to have to go with your gut feeling and what you personally believe is the right way to go. Because what's going to happen is if it goes wrong, you're going to be like, man, I should have just did what I wanted to do. I should have took the path that I felt like deep down inside was for me. But instead, I chose to listen to everyone else and what they had to say. And now I'm here dealing with the result of a poor decision that I made when I really didn't have to go that route. And for example, I've seen this happen so many times. And even with my life personally, growing up, just in this form of poverty that I experienced and not necessarily having this form of emotional intelligence, in my environment, I felt like I was almost prone to acquire those same type of things that my mom or my dad may have lacked. But at some point when you grow up, you have to realize that there is nobody to blame. You have problems internally that you have to solve, and you can't run around the world trying to fill a void, which ultimately isn't going to do anything for you. Some people may not ever experience a wake-up call, but nothing is ever going to be solved in your life until you realize that you have the solutions to your problems. The world does not have the solutions to the things that you're going through. Yes, you can seek advice from time to time, but ultimately it's going to boil down to what you believe and what you're going to do with yourself. And I feel like it's very important that you pay close attention to how you react in times where you may be vulnerable, because this speaks a lot about your deepest insecurities. If you're somebody that you're prone to run into external sources for validation, then obviously you lack accountability. You may have to gain more confidence in what you have going on. You may not even be where you want to be in life right now. And that's the stem root of why you're moving the way that you're moving. And one of the cons about looking externally for solutions is the fact that we may actually find temporary solutions. Believe it or not, we've all been there. And these temporary solutions actually trick us into believing that the problem's solved, up until months or years later where we realize that everything that we had going on prior was just a cover up. That initial problem still exists. That pain and that suffering or that guilt, whatever it is that you may be going through, is still present because you went externally for solutions and you didn't actually heal that wound properly. And this could also tie into relationships. This is exactly why they say as soon as you break up, the best thing that you could possibly do is take some time to heal. You may have traumas and things that you went through that you genuinely need to heal from. And just because you go and fill that void with somebody else does not mean that that problem is going to be solved. And this same concept applies to anything that you go through in life. That's why I do my best not to try to fill a void, not to allow myself to fall victim to getting temporary placeholders, and not even referring to people, but just things that you may go through that just makes you feel content in that very moment, but the problems is not even really solved. We have to learn how to solve our problems and think strategically in terms of the way that we feel and what's really going on in our lives, because in the long run, they will all come back to hunt us. I'm 25 years old right now, and a couple years ago, I barely got to the point where I realized that I had so much trauma and things of that sort built up since I was a child that I had to personally heal from, and I had to stop blaming everybody for me being in the position that I was in. And a lot of people are walking around this earth the same exact way, but just lack that form of accountability. But any problem that you may face, it's always going to start with you looking at yourself in the mirror. At some point, you're going to realize that, okay, now's the time. Now's the time to wake up and do everything that I felt like I should have been doing. And I know that I'm the solution before anyone else. And another reason why I feel like it's personally not good to seek external solutions for internal problems is because it increases your stress levels. Just imagine yourself, you have a general idea of what you want to do, but you go and get more feedback because you may be unsure or you simply lack confidence. And these opinions that you may get can be conflicting. They may not even necessarily sit right with you, but you take it into account. And now that just pulls you further and further away from what you personally believe because you understand other people's viewpoints. And one of the most important things that you have to take into account is the fact that you have to actually want change to receive it. You have to genuinely be open to the concept of change for something to change into your life. Because what a lot of people don't realize is the fact that they think and they believe like, okay, this is something that I may want. I want to do better. I want to get a different result out of my life. But they are not allowing that door to fully open. They may leave the door cracked to get a sense of what's possible if they were to allow change to come into their lives. But they are not fully open to this idea of change because they're so stuck in their comfort zone. You have to be somebody that genuinely wants change. You have to be somebody that genuinely seeks this form of openness, knowing that your life will get better if you just allow things to be what they are. It's all going to start with you making a decision. It's all going to start with you realizing that, okay, now it's time to take accountability. I may have lacked a lot. I may have went through my hardships. I may have had times where I didn't believe, but now I need to believe. I need to have that sense of confidence for the things that I want in my life. But every problem that I have, there is a solution to. And it all starts with me. Before you go out and get anything that you want in the world, like I said before, everything that we see around us started as a single thought. That just shows you how powerful the mind is. Train your thoughts and get those aligned, and I promise you they will be a reflection of your life. If your life is not going the way that you want it to go, I promise you it's because your mind is not in the right place. Your attention may be on the wrong things, and these are just the adjustments that we have to make. But like everyone else, we all have work to do. It's just a matter of when you're going to get on it. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.